Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today we're unpacking an absolutely fascinating contrast. We're looking at the dual life of global superstars, specifically the members of BTS during their recent time in Europe. It's just a brilliant case study in how the most famous musical acts on the planet managed to navigate this immense, world-stopping global fame while simultaneously seeking out completely normal, grounded tourist experiences. We're going to break down the data, the sightings, and the sheer cultural impact of their trip.
It really begs the question, what actually happens when the world's biggest group takes a trip to Europe? I mean, you might imagine total chaos, right? Bodyguards, barricades, the whole shebang. But the reality, as we'll see through their scattered but highly documented adventures across London, Madrid, and Brussels, is a whole lot more nuanced. They're constantly shifting between being these highly visible cultural icons and just everyday tourists trying to grab a waffle. So let's look at how they actually spent their downtime.
Section 1. Sightseeing across Europe. Global icons as everyday tourists. As soon as they had some free time in their schedule, the members immediately embraced these grounded, relatable activities. But because of their different personalities, how they experienced Europe varied wildly. Take J-Hope, for example. He was spotted right in the middle of Brussels wearing this super bright, vibrant pink outfit. He's just brimming with energy, walking around with Jin, and they're literally just stopping to eat waffles together right after landing. It's loud, it's happy, it's super energetic. And this brilliantly illustrates the contrast, because on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, you have RM in Madrid. He's taking a quiet, deeply respectful stroll through the Prado Museum. It's incredibly peaceful. This contrast between high-energy sightseeing and quiet, artistic reflection, it perfectly captures their individual vibes.
In fact, RM's museum visit gave us one of the most hilariously humanizing anecdotes of the entire trip. Fans were actually there, but they stayed completely still so as not to disturb his peace. So who was the only person who interrupted him? A museum guard. The guard actually had to remind RM to keep his voice down just because he was getting a little too excited explaining the paintings to his friend. It just goes to show, you can be a global superstar, but in an art museum, you're really just another overly enthusiastic tourist getting shushed.
The rest of the group's downtime was honestly just as relatable. They were spotted dining at London's Duck and Waffle, and that's a really neat callback because Jungkook actually mentioned this exact restaurant in his Rolling Stone interview, which means he likely recommended it to Taehyung and J-Hope. Over in Brussels, they went strolling and bowling. We even got these fantastic social media updates, like an Instagram story from Taehyung showing Jungkook and J-Hope in an elevator, highlighting J-Hope's incredibly cute, wide doe eyes. It's literally just a group of friends hanging out.
Let's move to Section 2 and see how this builds. The Unstoppable Taehyung Effect, a masterclass in global influence.
Now, this quiet tourist narrative shifts dramatically when we look at their economic power. Just one. During this trip, a fan who went to buy a red Celine ring that Taehyung was simply spotted wearing was told that theirs was the absolute last one left. There was only one single ring remaining after a massive, instant wave of reservations sparked purely because he was seen wearing it.
Let's expand on the scale of that impact for a second. That red Celine ring didn't just sell out in one store, it sold out globally. The demand was so intense that Japanese fans were actually forced to make reservations through the Line app just to secure one for in-store pickup. The Taehyung effect was so overwhelming that Celine's staff eventually had to pivot. Knowing these customers were fans, the staff started recommending similar designs to them because the exact ring Taehyung wore was entirely gone. That is staggering economic power from a single casual sighting.
But his influence isn't just retail, right? It's heavily digital too. Taehyung's social media activity during this trip was both kind of chaotic and incredibly impactful. He left a comment on actor Park Seo-jin's Instagram playfully teasing him about a love you comment from the brand Jacquemus. He even entered the Desi side of Instagram Reels by liking a video from Indian choreographer Oaz Darbar, which of course sparked instant ideas for his next TikTok. He spent time dropping love emojis on the official account of Jinro, Korea's biggest beverage brand, which is wild when you remember he's literally their ambassador. And naturally, he spent his downtime replying to ARMY with hilarious gifs and memes. He just commands attention effortlessly.
All right, on to Section 3, Playful Concert Chaos, High Energy in Brussels.
So eventually the downtime ends and it's time to perform. And the BTS Arirang concert in Brussels was just joyful chaos. We got the iconic Butter Trio moment where Taehyung and Jungkook tried to help Jin up, only for Jin to use them as human pull-up bars. We had Jimin playfully trying to kick his members. We saw Taekook bickering playfully, but later just totally vibing with their arms around each other during mic drop. Oh, and we can't forget Jin aggressively fixing Jungkook's hair like a caring older brother, only to playfully push him away literally seconds later.
Their stage presence is absolutely undeniable. At one point, Taehyung stepped up and acted as the ultimate conductor of the crowd. He took total control of the army bombs and dictated their movements, eventually making the entire massive crowd jump on his direct command. It was a stunning display of crowd control, with Jungkook just standing by, watching him with this huge smile.
Now, amidst that massive crowd control, they also managed these intimate micro-interactions perfectly. Jimin noticed a service dog in the crowd and melted hearts by greeting it, and then he immediately walked over to say hi to a young kid he spotted. Meanwhile, Taehyung was making half the stadium jealous by repeatedly walking over to the front row and actually holding hands with lucky fans. They know exactly how to make a massive stadium feel intimately personal.
So, the crucial point is really captured in Section 4, Heartwarming Army Interactions, giving back to the fans.
Like I said, the crucial point is this. Despite the sold-out luxury rings and the massive stadium crowds, their devotion to their fans remains their absolute core priority. During day one in Brussels, there was a deeply emotional moment that perfectly captures this devotion. Taehyung was looking out into the crowd and spotted a fan who was visibly crying. Instead of just waving, he walked over, gently patted her head to comfort her, and actually took off his own jacket and gifted it to her. It's just an incredible display of deep, spontaneous empathy right in the middle of a massive production.
And this generosity isn't just a one-off event. It is a sustained tradition. Over the years, Taehyung has gifted fans sweaters, beanies, signed footballs, belts, water bottles, even cotton candy. Then we look at Brussels, day 1. He gives away his jacket. On day 2, he literally takes off his hoodie and gives it to a fan. He is constantly finding ways to physically give back to the people supporting him.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is a distinct pattern that fans noticed. Earlier in the trip, J-Hope gifted his beloved acorn bag specifically to a fan who was wearing a headband of Mang, his BT21 character. And here in Brussels, Tae gifted his hoodie specifically to a fan wearing a headband of Tata, his BT21 character. It shows that they are paying close attention to the crowd. They actually see the specific effort fans make to represent them, and they go completely out of their way to reward that specific loyalty.
What you should really take away from this is the sheer inclusivity of these interactions. On day 2, Taehyung was playing ball with the audience in the middle of the show. He grabbed a fan's Polaroid camera to take a selfie for them. But most touchingly, he took specific, dedicated time to stop and greet a fan with Down syndrome, as well as another fan using a wheelchair. His attention isn't just focused on the loudest people in the front row. He ensures his love and appreciation reach everyone, seemingly without bounds.
It really all boils down to this. No one loves spoiling ARMY quite like Kim Taehyung. While they're undeniably a global economic force that can sell out luxury rings in minutes, their true legacy, and the reason they maintain such a tight grip on the music industry, is this unparalleled, deeply personal bond they continuously cultivate with their fans.
Which leaves us with a final thought to reflect on. We've seen the data, we've seen the massive impact, and we've seen the deep empathy. So how might the entire celebrity landscape shift if every star treated their fans with this much personal devotion and respect? It's a standard of connection that goes far, far beyond the music. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.